Right. So coming into the second class where we're going into the 15th focus area. So if you remember, we did start this last week. So last week we went until the 2014 A-level paper. I think we finished off with this question. So today I'm going to start off with the next question, that is the 2015 A-levels question number 20. So we'll try to finish off the MCQs quickly, and then we'll move into our essay question. So the faster we do this, the faster the class will finish. Okay, let's start. So question number 20. They're saying, given the cost and demand schedules of a perfectly competitive firm depicted in the diagram given below, if the firm increases output from Q1 to Q2, it would earn a what? Normal profit, experience an increase in profit, experience a decline, increase in revenue but not cost, increase in cost but not revenue. Which one did you all go with the answer? 2020 question number, 2014 question number 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one? So what is happening over here, guys? Right now, at the level of output of Q1, you are where you're already at the profit maximizing level of output. At Q1, this is where your profits are maximized. Profit is maximized. So when you go from Q1 to, let's say, Q3, now you're selling a higher quantity. So can you all tell me what happens here if you go from Q1 to Q3? What happens to your total revenue? If you go from Q1 to Q3, compared to selling Q1 number of units. Now, sorry, Q2. If you're selling Q2 number of units, what happens? Your total revenue increases, Lamai. Your marginal revenue is constant. Total revenue goes up because total revenue is priced into quantity. Now, before that, total revenue was this blue blocks. This was total revenue. But now, if you're selling the quantity of Q2, now this entire thing becomes total revenue priced into quantity. So if you move from Q1 to Q2, the total revenue would increase. But what do you think happens to total cost, Lamai? Look at the marginal cost. The more and more you produce, total cost has to ideally increase. No? If you produce more, your cost has to increase. But given that your marginal cost is rising, can you tell me, does your total cost increase a lot or does it increase a little? What do you all think? When you go from Q1 to Q2, you're in a situation where MCE is rising. So your total cost increases a lot, Lama. As a result, what do you think happens to your profit? In Q1, you're at the profit maximized level of output. If you go to Q2, yes, your revenue will increase, but your cost increases much faster because MCE is rising. As a result, what happens, Lamai? Your profits can start to come down. So that is the explanation behind that. So based on that, which one can you go as an answer? Number one says normal profit, that we can't conclude. Experience an increase in profit? No. Experience a decline in profit? Yes, because remember, Q1 is MR equals MC. Q1 is the point where your profits are maximized. So then whether you decrease output or increase output, your profits have to fall because at Q1 only your profits are the highest. And then fourth one says increase in revenue but not cost. No, revenue also increases but cost increases much more. Last one says increase in cost but no revenues. Cost increases, revenue also goes up, Lamai. So both of it actually increase. So answer is number 3. So just summarize that again. The question here, you're moving from Q1 to Q2 level of output. So when you're going from the output level of Q1 to Q2, they're asking you what is happening. So when you're selling more, your revenue will increase. That is number 1. Total revenue goes up. But also, when you try to go to Q2, your MC is rising much higher. That means your cost is increasing at a much greater pace. So revenue is rising, cost increases at a much greater pace. As a result, what happens? Your profits will start to come down. So at Q1, you're at the profit maximizing level of output. Now, your profits start coming down. That's what happens. So 20 is answer number 3. Okay. Then we move to the next one. 2016 A-levels, question number 17. The question is saying, in the price range below the minimum average variable cost, a perfectly competitive firm's supply curve is. What do you think? So if you take a perfectly competitive firm's supply curve, so if you remember, this is your average variable cost curve. This is your marginal cost curve. So usually the supply curve is the marginal cost curve above ABC. This is the supply curve. This red one is the supply curve, marginal cost curve above ABC. But what are they asking in the question? In the question, they are asking you in the price range below the minimum ABC. So let's say this now. Let's say the price is 10 here. Okay, so it goes like that and then it increases. Where is the supply curve in the price range below the ABC? Below the ABC, guys, your supply curve is something like this. That straight line there. It's a vertical straight line that is there. It goes like that. Because at any price below 10, the supply is 0. You have a line like that. At 10, some people would supply, some people might not. That is the shutdown price. At any price above 10 only, you will have a supply. So if the question is asking you, in the price range below, that is this price range, in the price range below the minimum average variable cost, which part is the supply curve? It is vertical at 0 output. Supply curve is a vertical line at 0 output. If they ask you what is the supply curve, if they ask you the supply curve at the shutdown price, if they ask you which one is the supply curve when price is equal to minimum ABC, then maybe you could have gone with answer number 1, something like horizontal at market price. So at the price of 10, it is this, right? So here for this answer would have been number 1. Then same as the firm's marginal cost curve, that is wrong, because they are talking about the price below the ABC. The price range above the ABC only, it is the marginal cost curve. So in the price, if you're in the price range above ABC, price range above ABC, then that is answer number 3. Price range below ABC, that is what they're asking, that is answer number 2. In the price range equal to ABC, that is answer number 1. So did I draw the arrows correctly? Equal, it's answer number 1. Below is answer number 2. And then same as the marginal cost curve, that is if this is above ABC. So answer number 1 is saying horizontal at market price. So horizontal at market price is that dotted line, dotted red line I have drawn. So if the price is equal to the minimum ABC, then it will be horizontal there. If it's below, then it's the vertical line. Above is where it becomes the marginal cost curve. Yeah, and the shutdown price, yes, it's that horizontal elastic one. Correct. Okay, that's 2016. Answer is number 2. Then going into the next one. 2016 A-levels question number 18. They're saying the profit maximizing output of a firm operating in a competitive market is determined at a point where, this is easy, at a point where what? Marginal cost is decreasing, marginal cost is increasing, marginal revenue is increasing, MC is at its minimum, marginal cost is below marginal revenue. So they're asking for the profit maximizing condition, and this is at a point where the profit maximizing condition is where MR equals MC when MC is increasing. Remember, I think I would have shown you all this in a previous question also. So remember, you might have Lamai, both of this. in this diagram, this red dot is also MR equals MC. This black dot is also MR equals MC. But both of those are not your profit maximizing. No, which one is your profit maximizing point? Your profit maximizing level of output is the black dot. It is MR equals MC when MC is increased. So which one can you give as an answer for this? When MC is decreasing, no. When MC is rising, yes. When MR is increasing, MR is always constant. MC is at its minimum, no. When marginal cost is below, no, it has to be equal. So the answer there has to be, the more complete answer is when MR equals MC, when MC is rising. So there is no full answer there. So you go with the part that they have given. So that's answer 2. Okay. Then the next one. Okay. This one, did we do this question last week? Not while MC is decreasing. Now, MC initially will decrease. That is the law of marginal, law of diminishing returns. So not when MC is coming down. Yeah, we did this. No, so which one is the answer? I'm not going to discuss. We did this last week. Answer was number 4. So they have to reduce output to 0. In other words, they had to shut down because they were not even covering their variable cost. Then in monopolistic competition, you have near to perfect information. You don't have perfect information, but near to perfect. Then 2018 question number 19. They're saying, at the current level of output, a perfectly competitive firm, the marginal cost is 80. Okay, so they've said at the current level, MC is 80. The average variable cost is 50. Average variable cost is 50. Average fixed cost is 30. And the price of the product is 80. Price is 80. Can you all tell me, if the average variable is 50 and average fixed cost is 30, how much is the average cost or average total cost? That is the addition of these two. Average cost is 80. Okay. Now, the question is asking you, which of the following is true? They're talking about economic profit. When you are talking about economic profit, what do you look at? Do you look at MR and MC, or do you look at what? What do you look at when you are talking about economic profit? To say whether economic profit is positive or negative or equal, what do you look at? You look at the total revenue, right? You look at the total revenue and total cost. Now, if you don't have the totals, then what do you do? If the total revenue is more than total cost, we say economic profit is positive. If the total cost is more, we say negative. If you don't have the totals, then what do we do? Then you can look at the average. So total revenue divided by the number of units is the average revenue. Or in other words, that is the price of the good. Or you can look at total cost divided by the number of units. That is the average total cost. To find out economic profit, do we look at MR and MC? Do we look at these to conclude economic profit? We don't look at this, right? So economic profit is not based on MR and MC. Economic profit, whether the firm is making a profit or not, is comparing your total revenue and total cost. If you don't have totals, then look at per unit. So in this case, what can you say? Your average cost is 80. Your price is also 80. So average total cost is 80. Price is also 80 means, what can you tell about your total revenue and total cost? Your total revenue and total cost will be equal to each other. So what can you tell about the economic profit then? Your economic profit would be 0. Okay, so which one do you think is your answer? I will cut off answer number 2, 3, and 4, right? Because they are saying economic profit is positive, negative. Answer number 1 says economic profit is 0. That is correct. Because MR equals MC. Economic profit is 0, not because MR equals MC. economic profit is zero because the price is equal to average total cost. Or in other words, total revenue is equal to total cost. That is why the economic profit. You don't calculate economic profit with MR and MC. You calculate economic profit by total revenue minus total cost. So be careful. So it's not number 1, it is number 5. Done. Then we'll go into 2019. 2019, question number 17. 17 is saying, consider a farmer who grows banana, operates in a perfectly competitive market. Okay. If the market price falls in the short run, what should the farmer do? Now, perfectly competitive market means like the farmer is a price taker. So let's say something has happened. Market prices of banana has come down. Now, this farmer's also price has come down. So the question is asking, what should this farmer do now? Number 1, he should increase production until the new price equals average total cost. He should increase production to offset the fall in price. He should discontinue production if the price is less than marginal revenue. Continue to produce only if the new price covers average fixed cost. Continue to produce only if the price covers average variable cost. Which one do you think? Now, the price has fallen. So what should the farmer do now? So what should the farmer do, guys? Price has fallen, fine. That is not something that is under his control. He should continue to produce if he can do what? As long as he can cover his average variable. Kamak ne, price එක අඩු වුණාට අවුලක් නැහැ. If you can at least cover your average variable cost, then you should still continue producing. That's answer number 5. So even if your price falls, that's not an issue. You will continue as long as you can cover your variable cost. If you can't cover your variable cost, what will you do? If you can't even cover, if that price has fallen so much, it's not even covering your average variable, then what do you do? Then you will shut down the firm level. Temporarily, you will shut. Good. That's answer number 5. Then we go into the next one. Just summarize that again, guys. So here, this is the story, right? You have the average cost, average variable cost, marginal cost. So let's say right now, this was the price. This was the price. So the farmer is doing well, right? He is getting a supernormal profit. Now they are saying the price has come down. So how much has it come down? We don't know. Has it come down a lot? They have said, look here, the price has come down. So the question is asking, so what should the farmer do now? The answer is the farmer should continue production if that price is at least covering the average variable cost. If that price is at least above the AVC, then you will continue. But if it is not, then you shut down and go. That's what they're talking about. This was the previous one. Okay, done. Then we go to the 2020 A-level question. 2020 question says, okay, this is an easy one. If a firm faces a perfectly elastic demand curve, what can you say? Then that firm is not a price taker. The firm is able to lower its price to increase sales. The firm is able to raise its price to increase revenue. The firm's marginal revenue curve is horizontal at the market price. The firm will always make zero economic profits. Which one can you say, Lavan? You have a perfectly elastic demand curve. Perfectly elastic demand curve means you are a price taker. So then answer number 1 is completely gone. Answer number 1 says not a price taken. So when you have a perfectly elastic demand curve, will you increase or reduce price? Will you do any of that? Number 2 or number 3? Increase current. If you increase no sales, to reduce, you don't have a point to reduce. You don't have to. So then 2 and 3 is also gone. Then you're left with 4 and 5. Is can you say a firm will always make zero economic profits? So zero economic profits means normal profits. In the long run, you can say a firm in perfect competition will always make normal profits or zero economic profits in the long run. They are just saying firm will make zero economic. So in the short run, there are situations where you can make supernormal profits. No? Then that is also gone. Then you have the answer left. Firm's marginal revenue is horizontal at the market price. Correct. So if you have this, you have the marginal revenue, average revenue, that is the price. It is horizontal at market price. So answer is number 4. Yes, zero economic profits is equal to normal profits. Okay. Now, what if it can't cover its AVC but can cover its total fixed cost? No. So the condition whether you cover it or not is based on your variable cost. I think I would have proved that to you with a logical store. Just go back to your notes and see, like whoever who taught you would have taught you that. How? I'll show you an example when you come to paper 2. So whether you shut down or not is based on whether you can cover your variable. You don't think of fixed and all of it. Can you at least cover your variable? Will public company firms always make normal profits? That is what I said. No. In the long run, yes, they will always make normal profits. But in the short run, they can make supernormal profits. They can even make losses. Okay, then go in the next one. 2021. 21, question number 60. In the short run, when a perfectly competitive firm operates at its profit maximizing level of output of 1,000 units, the price is 120. Variable cost is 100 and fixed cost is 40. Other things being equal, the short run behavior of the firm should be to do what? This is also, guys, coming from that same thing that we learned before. So I told you. So in a question like this, what should the firm do? So first thing you have to check is, are they at least covering their what? Are they at least covering their variable cost? Can you all check and tell me that? Is the price greater than the average variable cost? Here the price is 120. How much is the average variable cost? Variable cost per unit is 100. Okay. So then what should the firm do? They have to continue production. Shutting down is not an option for them. If they are continuing production, now you have to check the second condition. You have to look at MR and MC. I taught you all this last week. So now compare MR and MC and tell me what's happened. The MR is the price. So MR is 120. How much is MC? Is there a MC here? How much is the MC? You don't have an MC because why, Lamai? The firm says, right? In the short run, when a perfectly competitive firm, it is operating at the profit maximizing level. So it's operating at the profit maximizing level means it's already operating at the MR equals MC point. So then we'll see what should the firm do now. It should reduce output in order to reduce cost. Okay. Increase the price over 140. You can't increase price in a perfect competition. Price take. Continue to produce as it operates in the short run. Increase output in order to reduce the average fixed cost. So if you're at the profit maximizing level, you won't increase output. So 4 is cut. Shut down immediately. You don't have to because your price is more than AVC. Which one is your answer? The question is saying the firm is at the profit maximizing level. So if you're at the profit maximizing level and also price is enough to cover your variable cost, what do? You continue output as it is. No, you don't go and increase or decrease. So you maintain your output. We learned this last class. So answer number now is here on your end, my product. Do the questions and come, right? Because you can't sit with me and try to do the questions now. This will be too fast then. So you do the questions and come, see where you go right and wrong, mark it. You all have the past paper answers. Ne? Mark karla, then come for the discussion. That is what has to happen. Don't just come in this thing and look at my face and try to figure out the MCQ and do it with me. Then that is too fast. Okay. 17, 2021. Which of the following is true for a perfectly competitive firm? Which one is the true one? Yes, you do and come. At least mark here is okay, but do and come. always earns positive economic profit? You can't say, because you can earn a supernormal profit, you can earn a normal profit, you can earn a loss as well. Someone asked me how losses. Remember, in your theory tube, we have that three situations. A firm can earn supernormal profits, normal profits, or even losses. So it can be anything, right? So then, no. A firm always earns a normal profit. Can you say that? Can you say a firm in the short run always earns a normal profit? No, in the short run, it could be a supernormal also, it could be a loss also. In the long run, always earn a normal profit. Fine. The firm shuts down when the price falls below average total cost. Is that correct? If the price comes down below average total cost, will you shut down? No, right? When will you shut down? You will shut down if the price comes below average variable cost. So then, not 3. 4, firm maximizes profit by producing at a point where price equals marginal revenue. Do you maximize profits at a point where price equals marginal revenue? Price and marginal revenue are all anyway equal, Lamai. You maximize profits not when price equals marginal revenue, when the price or the marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So here they are saying firm is maximizing profits when price is equal to MR. Price and MR are anyway equal, Lamai. That is not the profit maximizing condition. The profit maximizing condition is the price or the MR has to be equal to MC. So then 4 is also gone. The last one is saying the firm may earn negative, positive, or normal profit. Correct. Remember, in your tutor also we studied this now. A firm in perfect competition that is producing at MR equals MC can earn supernormal profits, can earn normal profits, or can earn losses. That's exactly what they're saying. So this is directly in your tute. The situations also we have learned. 17, answer number 5. Previous one was number 3. Okay. Then coming into 2022. 22, question number 18. They're saying same kind of thing as before. At a firm's current output level, marginal cost is 100. Okay, marginal cost is 100. Current contest question, probable question will ask about recent trends in government debt. Yeah, could be government debt, government revenue. Fast track people will be discussing it next week. That is the probable question. How government debt has come down, how government revenue has gone up, they can ask. Okay. So marginal cost is 100. Average variable cost is a 60. Average fixed cost is a 40. Price is 100. Almost kind of similar numbers as last time. They're asking you, what about economic profits? What can you say? So to look at economic profits, what do? You have to look at, Lamai, the total revenue and total cost. If that is not there, you look at per unit, price and the average total cost. What can you say? The price is 100. How much is your average total cost? Variable cost is 60, fixed cost is 40. So average cost is also 100. So if these two are equal, means these two are equal. What can you tell about your, this? Does minimum point of AVC and ATC intersect? Yeah, marginal cost curve cuts the minimum point of both. So you can say economic profit is 0. Why is it 0? Or the firm is earning normal profits. Why? Because total revenue is equal to total cost, or the price is equal to average total cost. So same thing as the past paper, they just switch the answers. So here it's answer number 1. Economic profits are 0 because price equals average total cost. In the previous question, same thing was there. This answer was as number 5. Okay, so that is done. Oh, yeah, it's a profit maximizing. So guys, this is where you have not understood the logic behind the storyline. A firm in perfect competition will always be producing at where MR equals MC, right? They will produce at their profit maximizing point. So when a firm produces in this profit maximizing point, they can face 4 different situations, right? They can be earning supernormal profit. They can be earning normal profit. They can be earning abnormal losses. They could even be making abnormal losses, and they might even end up shutting. So just because they are at MR equals MC, that doesn't mean they're always making a profit, right? When firm will always produce at MR equals MC, When they are producing at MR equals MC, any of the four is possible. That's the same structure that when I explain in the class also, that's the whole thing that I talk about. Yes, when TR is equal to TC, economic profit is 0. No, MR and MC values are not needed for this, because if you're going to talk about economic profit, you don't have to talk about MR and MC. If you're talking about economic profit, so this is positive economic profit, this is 0 economic profit, these two are negative economic profit. So you look at the total revenue and total cost, or the price and the average total. Okay. So 18 is 1. Then 2023, they're saying, in order to minimize short-run losses, okay, under the following condition, under which of the following conditions a profit maximizing firm in a competitive market will necessarily shut down? When will you shut down, Lavai? When total revenue is less than total cost, when marginal cost is greater than average total cost, when marginal cost is less than marginal revenue, when average revenue is less than average variable cost, when average revenue is less than average total cost. When will you shut down? You will shut down if your price is less than average variable cost. Another thing for price is your average revenue. If your average revenue or your price is below your average variable cost, then you will shut down. So which answer talks about that? These are very easy, direct questions. Answer number 4. Easy one. Then going to the next one. 2024. That's the last question we have. A perfectly competitive firm will earn 0 economic profit. Now, those questions were tested multiple times before also. When will you earn 0 economic profits? When your total revenue equals average revenue and average total cost are not the same thing. Those are different things. So when your total revenue equals total cost, or if you're what? When will you earn 0 economic profits? Or the price, in other words, the average revenue should equal to average total cost. That is how you can talk about this. So which one is your answer then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Answer number 5. Can it be number 1? So price equals marginal cost, Lamai. That is your profit maximizing condition. Guys, now what I think most of you all, the issue that most of you all have is, I don't know where you all learned this unit. I just hope that you didn't learn it from me and you're asking me the questions. What most of you all have done is you all have memorized thing from somewhere. Okay. You memorize a thing from somewhere and you don't get the logic behind what is this MR equals MC story, what is this economic profit story. So for those who have my theory class recordings, if you were my theory class student, I hope that is not an issue. Go back and see how I have explained the story, right? If you go back, if you remember the whole story of how I explain, I told you a firm in perfect competition, remember, they have 2 constraints, right? The constraints are, 1, they have a price taking behavior, and also they have to operate in their existing capacity. So in a situation like that, then what should they do, right? So then they have to make 2 decisions. Should they continue or shut down? And then if they're producing, how much they should produce. And then I told you profit maximizing point. And then I told you a firm operating at the profit maximizing can face multiple scenarios. And I went there. So most of you all have got most of this confused. So be careful. MR equals 80 is economic profit 0. Usually don't take MR. You can say MR is equal to price and you can say that, but usually that's not what you say. Previous one, no. So for you to shut down, total revenue is not equal to, not less than total cost. Total revenue should be less than total variable cost. So this one multiplied by quantity is your total revenue. This one multiplied by the quantity is total variable cost. So if your revenue is less than your variable cost only, you will shut down, not total cost. Okay. Right. Okay, that's 2024. I'll tell you one thing, right? The unit 4 MCQs, I would say, are the easiest MCQs in the unit if you have logically understood the unit. These are easier than the unit 3 ones, way easier than unit number 2, some questions that they put also. Because all of this, it's the same thing that they ask in multiple different ways. But if you are someone who has memorized the unit, then these MCQs are difficult. If you have logically put the unit into your head, this is how it works, this is how this and this connects, then these MCQs, I would say, are the easiest ever that you can get. Right. So how did you all do out of overall? I think there were around 19 MCQs. How much out of 19 for focus area number 4? I would say a good mark would at least be, now with how many months to go for A-levels? With only around 3 months to go. So I would say a good mark would be at least around 12 out of 19. At least 12. You've at least got around 12 out of the 19. Yeah, somewhere there you can push to an A. If you're generally done without copying and got around 12 out of 19, figure out what you went wrong and all of it. I think that's okay. Right. So that's the MCQs of this part. We're done. So we then need to move into the essay questions. So essay questions, again, every year we don't have, because these are focus area. So essay questions also you will see once you do, there are around 20 essay questions. But once you do, you will see the same thing being tested multiple times. Same thing being repeated here and there. So we'll start. Some of the questions I have given answers, because then we can save some time. I don't have a type. Some of it I will go into detail. You will see, Lamai, it's actually easy. It's the same thing that comes again and again and again. Okay. Pass me past calls and with all the work correctly. But so what I would recommend is, now once we start the mock exams, is one more reminder, guys, I'll let you know I've not opened registrations yet. So for your batch, right, for the 2025 batch, for the upcoming months, there are multiple things that we will be doing. So one is we have the mock exam series, right? So the mock exam series is where we do full papers. So when I say full papers, like the A-level paper, unit 1 to unit 12, full kind of papers, we do 2 papers every week. So we will do around 16 papers. So some of those are my own papers. Some of those are past papers. All the papers I will mark, right? I will mark every paper. We will discuss. You will get feedback on how to improve. So you're doing full papers now, right? So that's the mock exam series on how that works. Then apart from that, we have the special seminar series, right? So we have the special seminar. That is what I will be planning, and I'll be finalizing the topic. Remember, I asked you all to fill a Google form. I asked you to fill a Google form and ask you what are the difficult topics that you have. So based on that, I will pick around 5 to 6 difficult topics and we'll do the special seminar series. So that will be around 5 days. It will not be 5 days at a stretch. So it will be, let's say, 1 week, maybe 1 day. So one session will be around, there would be around, let's say, 5 hours, 6 hours of classes. So that's the special seminar series. There'll be around 5 days there. 5 days or 5 to 6 days. There will be some pre-recorded things that you can watch online as well. That will be covered. Then we also will have the MCQ series, right? So the 1000 MCQ series that will happen. That will happen, Lamai, ideally around, I would say not August, somewhere around in September. September, October-ish is where this will happen. So the mock exam series will happen in August and September. This will most likely happen in August and September. This one will happen around in September and October. Right? That is the 1000 MCQ series, where you can buy the 2 books once it's printed, and I'll let you know. You can get the 1000 MCQs done. Along with that, the difficult ones and all we will discuss as well. And then finally, after all of this is over, around 1 week before the exam, 1 or 2 weeks before the exam, ideally around the end of October, we will have the final seminar. That is how that will work. So in the final seminar, we'll go through again different things, and I'll let you know how that goes. So that's what we have so far left for the 2025 batch. The mock exams, most of it will happen online, but some of the papers, there will be a physical setting also. The online option will work as it is. Just to give you that exam type of experience, there will be a few things. No, mock exam series will not go until the end of October. It will go until this. Fast track next week, we are doing current context. I hope you are listening in class. Right. So how does the fee work? I'll just let you know. The mock exam series is the continuation of my normal class. So that is where you have 12 classes a month, the papers, all of that. So that is the normal 5,000 a month. So you have 2 months, August and September. The special seminar series, I haven't finalized the fee yet, but I will keep it at a very reasonable rate. Now, usually for seminars, Lamai, for a day, usually a teacher charges around 1,000 rupees, 1,500. Have you all gone to any seminars recently? No? Any seminars that is happening for any other subjects? There is a day fee of around 1,000 or 1,500. Yes, nothing. You might have accounting ones, yes. Day fee is around 1,000, 1,500, they take charge, right? So I will not be that expensive, right? But I will keep it at around, I'll say 5 sessions, but there will be around 8 topics I cover. Some sessions will be pre-recorded. So total around 8 topics, that's around 8 days. I will keep it at around a 2,500 because I know you all are also coming to the mock exam series. So that's in addition is what you will have to do, right? That is there. The MCQ series, the 1,000 books and all, there is a cost, considerable cost with printing and sorting all of that. So for that, the 2 books and the discussion, I'm thinking last time I charged around 3,400. It will be somewhere around there. Final seminar, I haven't finalized the fee yet. It will be there. So registrations for any of this is not yet open. Once I open registrations, I will let you know. So initially, I will open registrations for the mock exam series and for this special seminar series. Yeah, so these are all one-time payments that has to be made. The mock exam series, most of it will happen online. Certain papers we will do physically. It will be in a location in Colombo. I haven't finalized the location yet. October end is the final seminar. Yes. Paper submission deadline. So every week you will have 2 papers to submit. There will be multiple deadlines. So there will be around 4 deadlines because you have one paper 1, one paper 2, another paper 1, another paper 2. There'll be a lot of things that you have to do. Okay. No, so the papers now you can't do it whenever you want because there is a deadline to submit. Only if you submit by the deadline, I will mark and give. So this week there is a paper, you have to do this. You do that 2 months later, I'm not going to mark. So the MCQ series, how it will work is you have the MCQ books. So in the MCQ books, Lama, you have the answers at the back as well. So I will see. Sometimes depending on the time, maybe I might not discuss all 1,000 MCQs, but the most difficult and most challenging, most important MCQs, I might discuss. The other ones, the answer is there at the back. So you can figure it out. Maybe if you're confused with that, definitely during the discussion, you can definitely ask me. That's how it'll work. The mock exam series, the papers will be a little tough. So I don't make it easy. Usually, I'll tell you, the mock exam series, I make the papers hard. Someone who gets around 80 for my mock paper easily goes to get around a 90, 95 in the actual A-level paper. So that is the mock exam series. The papers will be hard. I don't expect very easy. No, hard doesn't mean out of syllabus. All current syllabus, whatever that can be tested for the paper, but it will be hard. Papers, yes, printed papers will be couriered to your doorstep. That's how that will work. So in a file, you will get all the papers sent, but the papers will be a little difficult. So if you can get to around 80, you can go to the 95. Usually people who get around 60 for my mock papers without copying, genuinely you have done that, you got around 60 out of 100, you end up getting a A for A-level econ. Even that you don't do something stupid on that day. That's the kind of usually around 15 marks more than what you get for your mock paper, you can score. So it's a good way for you to actually genuinely do the papers and see where you actually stand. So no people have, some of you all haven't done full papers yet. Anyone has done a full paper yet for econ? School term papers, have they finished the syllabus? Did you all do a full paper? Unit 1 to Unit 12. Not done a full paper yet, right? Unit 1 to Unit 12, proper standard. All 50 MCQs, 10 essay questions, just like the past paper format. So not done yet. So you can work on a paper, right? And then you can see where you actually stand. So in the mock exam series, every week we do 2 papers. So you do a paper, we discuss, marked, you get the feedback, you will improve. Then you go to the next one. So you keep on doing. There will be around 16 papers that I will be doing. I will give you some take-home papers also, because last year I did 3 months of mock exams. Now your A levels have come shorter, so for you all I'm doing only 2 months of mock exams. I have some additional papers which I will give you all as 2 take-home papers. Anyway, I'll cover the same thing, right? So that's where that will go. It will start from around the 10th of August again. Somewhere around there is where the mock exam series starts. Yes, it will have questions from current context, all of it. So it will be just like your A-level paper. It's a bit difficult to do until October because I don't want to do it until October and do much, but I will do the same kind of papers. For last year, I did 3 months. For you all, even though I do 2 months, the other extra papers, I will still give it to you. So don't worry. I'll give those papers to you for you can work at home. You can get this. Right. So yes, the classes will be on Monday and Wednesday. Those are my fast track class dates. That's where it goes. But recordings and all are there. So by Nepa, so you can register for whatever that you all want to. That's your choice to make. But I would say in these last 4 months, Lamai, even if other teachers are doing something good, go and register. Especially if you are someone planning to get a good result for A levels, right? At least someone who is in a F level trying to pass, or someone trying to get into a local uni. The smallest of marks will matter. Sometimes you might think that you know everything. When you actually go and try to do something, now you realize in these seminars, you learn a lot of things. So not just my subject, I'm just saying even other subjects. These last few days, if there is a teacher who is good enough that you think you can learn something, go and be a part of it, right? Because there is something that you will learn and something that you will pick up. It can definitely be helpful in your paper. Printed papers, yes, mock exam series, you get the printed papers. At the start of the month, all the papers will be Korean. Okay, so shall we get into this? So we'll do a few essay questions and then I'll give you a break. So we'll do around 3-4 years and then I'll give you a break. Okay, so right, that part aside, 2013 A levels, question number 2. So question number 2 is saying, discuss whether there is a relationship between the marginal cost curve of the firm and the supply curve of the industry. Right now, usually there is a relationship between the marginal cost curve of the firm and the supply curve of the firm. No, here they are talking about a supply curve of the industry. So what is the story there? It's the same story. So you say, look at the answer. So you say, look here, the firm supply curve. What is the firm supply curve? The firm supply curve is, I'll draw inside a blank page. So what is the firm supply curve? The firm supply curve. Now, this is the average variable cost. This is the marginal cost. So you have to explain that story, right? The firm supply curve is the marginal cost curve above the average variable cost. Because if you can't even get your average variable cost, you will shut down. And if you want to continuously supply, you will at least want to cover your marginal cost. At least you want to cover your additional cost. So as a result, the supply curve becomes the marginal cost curve above ABC. That is the firm. But here they are asking about something called the industry. So what is the industry story, Lamai? Now, each firm, if you add all of it, that is how you get the industry supply curve. So you can prove this, Lamai. You can show this with like numbers. For example, here, let's say the output. Now, here also it goes like this. So here, for example, let's say price is 10. One farmer is supplying 100 kilos of paddy. But industry supply curve is the collection of all the farmers. So you have to say this is the sum of all individual supply curves. So then, now if you're putting like a quantity or something for this, don't put 100. 100 is one farmers. So here it might be, for example, 100,000. You're showing that, look here, this is the collection of 1,000 farmers put together. That's how you can explain the story. So I'll repeat. They're asking you, is there a relationship between the marginal cost curve and the supply curve of the industry? So first you explain the relationship between the marginal cost curve and the supply curve of the firm. That is what you all know, that shutdown price, that story. Right? If you can't even cover your ABC, you won't supply. then above AVC only there will be a supply, and above AVC when you want to supply, you at least want to cover your MC marginal cost. So that becomes a supply curve story. ඒ කතාව explain කරා. And then you have to go one more step ahead and you have to talk about how this becomes this. How does the marginal cost curve become the supply curve, Lamai? That is because, remember, we learned this in unit number 2 also a little. Now, if you want to supply something, what is the minimum price that you would expect? Now, let's say a new student joins my fast track class. Okay. So when a new student joins my fast track class, I have an additional cost just for that student. When one student joins, I have to print an additional book. Okay. So I have to print, for example, a book of 1,000 rupees. Then let's say I have some just specific cost for that student. Forget about my fixed cost, my Zoom cost and my admin salary. Forget about those. So I will minimum expect to cover that. If a new student joins my fast track class, I would say minimum I want 1,500. Because for that student, I have a cost of 1,500. So a firm will continue to supply if they can at least cover their marginal cost. That is why the marginal cost curve becomes the supply curve. The supply curve shows the minimum price you want to supply a unit. Remember in unit number 2, when we learn supply, what does the supply curve show us? Supply curve shows us, okay, to supply, let's say 10 units, what is the minimum price the producer wants? To supply, let's say 15 units, what is the minimum price the producer wants? Exactly. Something similar transferring, that's a factor market. So supply curve shows you the minimum price that you want in order to supply. So I am telling you, the minimum price that you want in order to supply is to cover your marginal cost. Marginal cost means additional cost. So if I are to teach one more student in my fast track class, I will say, I minimum want 1,500 rupees. Otherwise, I'm not going to take you. So minimum you have to pay me that. Otherwise, I won't supply. That's how that logic story comes. So have that in mind. Why is the initial part parallel? Because at the shutdown price, some firms might supply, some firms might not supply. Right? So at this price of 10, you have a parallel line. If the supply is to increase above that, right? If the supply is to go above that, then the price has to increase. That's why after it slopes upwards. Initially, it's the flat part. First part is here, then the flat part, then it slopes up. So that this question, Lamai, is a very common question in your A-level paper. So I know some of you all are still not confident enough to write an answer. What I will recommend is, Lamai, at least look at your tute, at least look at the marking scheme and write a proper answer. When I say write, pen on paper, not read. You write with your own words, look at the marking scheme, don't copy and paste, then you're not going to remember. Read the marking scheme, read the tute, then write your complete answer. Because this question gets tested so many times. I'll show you when we do this also. In this session itself, you will see around 3-4 times this question has come. So in the last 10 to 12 years, if it has come 3-4 times, that means almost every 2-3 years, the question comes. So then the probability of a question like this coming in your paper is around a 33% probability. Then every 3 years, if it is coming, there's a 33% chance in your paper also, they can ask you this marginal cost curve supply curve story. So go prepared. Whether it will actually come or not, I don't know anything. But the probability of it coming is high because they keep on asking the story. Is it the same for all market structures? There is a bit of a relationship, but it can change a little. But at your level, perfect condition is more than enough. If you want to produce, they need to at least cover the AVC. Yeah, so minimum you have to cover your AVC, then only you will supply. After that, if you want to increase your supply, you want to cover your additional cost, your marginal cost. Okay, so that you can take a screenshot if you want. I've just copied from the marking scheme itself. And then you need to have the diagram explaining the story. So have a fixed answer. Okay. Then move to the next one. Okay, this is easy one. Question 3 is asking, MR equals MC is the profit maximizing condition for all the market conditions, not just perfect condition. Industrial supply curve and an industrial supply curve. then also you can write. So individual supply curve is one, the collection of all of it is the industry supply. Okay. Explain why a firm under perfect competition faces a horizontal demand curve, while a industry faces a downward slope. So if you remember, Lamai, the perfect competition, the industry has a downward sloping demand curve, upward sloping supply curve. Based on that, the individual firm has a horizontal demand curve. So they're asking you why. First, we'll go to the individual firm. Can you tell me that? Why does the individual firm have a perfectly elastic or a horizontal demand curve? Because the firm is a what? Why do they have a horizontal demand curve? Individual firm has a horizontal demand curve because they're a price taker. Then now you have to go and explain why are they a price taker? Now, price taker means they can't set their own price. There are three reasons, three main reasons. What are the three main reasons? One is there are large number of sellers. You're just one small guy, no? So there are large number of sellers. So you're just one small fellow. Another one, you're selling the same product as others. Homogeneous product. Homogeneous product. The other one, there is perfect information. So because of all of this, a firm in perfect competition is a price taker. They have a horizontal demand. But why does the market not have a horizontal demand curve? Why is the market, or in other words, the industry demand curve, why is that downward slope? Because the market, if you take the market, Lamai, the market is not a price taken. If you put all the paddy farmers together, that is the paddy market or the paddy industry. The paddy industry doesn't have to take the price of another one. The paddy industry, right? If you take the entire industry, Lamai, has the power, right, to set its own price. Why does it have the power to set its own price? Because it is not a perfect substitute for another one, right? Is the paddy industry a substitute for the bread industry? Is the paddy industry a substitute for a perfect substitute for the this and no? So because the industry itself is not a perfect substitute to another industry. So the market has power. The industry has power, right? The industry can decide. Industry, if you take now, one paddy farmer can't do anything, Lama, because one paddy farmer, there are a large number of guys, you're just one person. Homogeneous product. Perfect information means, Lama, everyone knows everything. Right? Perfect information means now the consumers know who and who is selling. What is the actual price? So, boru karlavat, you can't cheat and charge a higher price. So if all the paddy farmers selling 100,000, consumers also know, actual price is 100 rupees. Okay, 100,000 farmers in where and where they are there. What is the quality of the rice? They know everything. So then you can't even cheat and charge a higher price. So that is why you end up being a price taker as a firm. So even though the firm is a price taker, if you put all the paddy farmers together, then you get the paddy industry or the paddy market. The paddy market is not a price taker. Because why? The paddy market put together, right? The paddy market put together is what? The paddy market put together, is not a perfect substitute to another industry. One paddy farmer is a perfect substitute to another paddy farmer. One paddy farmer's rice is the same as another paddy farmer's rice. But if you take the entire paddy market, that is not the same as another market. The paddy market has the power to set their own price. That's the story that you have to explain. You don't have to go to law of demand and all too much. Marks divided for talking about demand curve for the product commission, demand curve for the industry. So demand curve for this, no, you talk about both. So you talk about the demand curve for a firm and the demand curve for the industry. Both of it you have talked. 2 marks each. They will expect you to write a answer. Right. That's the story there. Price taker. One firm is a price taker. Not that. Vertical axis below the minimum manageable cost belongs to supply. What's one? Vertical axis below the minimum variance belongs to supply. So I haven't drawn the firm supply curve. I just drawn the industry supply curve. Okay. You have to draw the diagram now. It's good to have a diagram. Done. Then 2013, next one. Question number 4. They're saying a firm operating in the short period reports that the revenue is 100 million. Total cost is 120 and the fixed cost is 80. Should the firm stay in business? Why? Right. Someone of you all earlier asked me, what is the shutdown story? Okay, let me explain. Am I? If the firm continues production, right? Let's say they stay and continue production. If they stay and continue production, can you calculate how much of a profit or loss they will make? How much is their total revenue if they continue? No, don't say industry has monopoly power. Though. How much is their revenue? Revenue is 100 million. Okay. How much is their total cost? So total cost is your variable cost plus your fixed cost. So variable cost they are saying is, sorry, total cost is they're saying is 120. They have said fixed cost is 40, so variable is 80. Okay. How much is the profit that you're making, Lam? Your revenue is 120, your cost, sorry, revenue is 100, cost is 120. So if you continue, you make a loss. Loss of how much? A loss of 20 million. That is if you continue. So if you continue production, you end up making a loss of 20. So they're asking you, should the firm continue or not? So then I'll show you what happens if the firm shuts down. So what is a shutdown? A shutdown is, Lamai, remember, a temporary closure. Now, recently I went to Ahangama, right, on a trip, and I saw certain cafes in Ahangama were closed. Certain cafes in Ahangama were closed. So in that cafe, in the board, they have put, we are reopening back in August. So for around 2-3 months, they are closed. Why are they closed? Because that is the tourist off season. It is not profitable for them to continue. Now that is what you call a shutdown. Shutdown is not you close everything and sell and go away. Shutting down is a temporary closure. And temporarily, you have closed your shop and kept, you don't open. So if you temporarily close your shop and keep, how much is your total revenue? How much can you earn? If that cafe in Ahangama is temporarily closed, are they getting any sales? No. Revenue is zero. How much is their total cost? Remember, Lamai, if you temporarily shut down, your cost will equal to your total fixed, your variable cost you can avoid, Lamai. Now, when the cafe temporarily closes, they don't have to pay electricity, buy ingredients for food. Those they can avoid. But can the cafe not pay the building rent? Can they tell the owner, "May api may maasa tune wahalana, so we are not paying"? No, because they have all the items and all there, they have to pay. Can the cafe say at the bank that we are not paying bank loan interest this month? No, you have to pay. So fixed cost you have to pay, Lamai. Even if you shut down, you have to bear your fixed cost. The variable cost you can avoid. So then your fixed cost in this example is 40. So how much is your loss then? If you shut down in my story, your revenue is 0, your cost is a 40, you make a loss of 40 million. So which one is better? Do you continue and make a loss of 20 million? Or do you shut down and make a loss of 40 million? What is the firm's objective? A firm's objective is to maximize profit or minimize losses. So if you're making a loss now, try to minimize your loss. So where is your loss minimized? Your loss is minimized here, no? When you're making a 20 million loss. So this story is what you have to explain, guys. So they are asking you, should the firm stay in business? Why? So you have to now explain this. You need to put this into a paragraph and explain. You need to say, look here, if the firm continues production, this is their revenue, this is their cost. So they will make a loss of this much. The next paragraph say, if the firm shuts down, then they will make a loss of this. So therefore, which one is better? It's better to continue. Why is it better, Lama? Because you're at least covering your variable cost. That is where that whole shutdown point logic comes from. Now see, your revenue is 100. Your total cost is 120. So overall loss. But you're at least covering your variable cost, no? So if you can at least cover your variable cost, then lamai, continuing production is better. Continuing production would mean you make a lesser loss. But if you can't even cover your variable cost, now, okay, now this is the example. This same thing, okay, can I duplicate this? No. Right. This same thing, what if I tell you, now in this same example, revenue is 100, instead of variable cost 80 and fixed cost 40, what if I change this as 110 and 10? Will your answer change then? Will your answer change? If total cost is still 120, I didn't change the total cost. I just changed the amount of variable and fixed. If you continue, still you make a loss of 20. But now if you shut down, how much is your loss? If you shut down, now your total cost is not 40. Now if you shut down, your total cost is only 10 fixed cost. So now you make a loss of only 10 million. Then what is better? Then shutting down is better. So see, in the new numbers I gave, you can't even cover your variable cost. Your revenue is 100. Revenue is 100. Total variable cost is 110. So if you can't even cover your variable cost, shutting down is good. Okay. You can't even cover. If you can cover your variable, then you will continue. Because I'm not going more in detail. This is not a theory class. I hope you all know this story and you're not trying to learn the theory out of my past paper class. So reducing output to zero, shutting down is the same thing. Shutting down is not completely leaving the industry. You incur a loss because cost is more than revenue. Correct. So if it's like this, right? If your total cost, if your total cost is more than total revenue, you're making a loss. But just because you make a loss, Lama, you don't have to shut down. So then you have to see, right? I'll turn it the other way around. Your total revenue is less than total cost. That is what is a loss. So then you have to see, is your revenue at least more than your variable cost? Then, even though you're making a loss, you will continue. That is what our example over here is, our question. Firm is making a loss. Revenue is only 100 million, cost is 120. They are making a loss of 20. But when I proved it to you, I showed you, it is better to continue. So if you're at least covering your variable, you will continue. But if you're making a loss and you can't even cover your variable cost, then you will shut down. That is what I showed you with the new numbers. So try to get the story logically of how it works. So you need to explain this in your answer. You don't have to go the new number story. You need to look here. If they continue, this is their loss. If they shut down and go, that is leaving the industry. That's a different one. Yes, Spotify story, correct. Makes sense. TR is equal to TVC. If the TR is equal to TVC, then shutting down or continuing both mean the same thing. If your revenue and cost is same. No, fixed cost is, we don't consider fixed cost. We look at variable only. Loss incurred when shutting down and a loss incurred. Shutting down and continuing, if the loss is the same, then even if you shut down, even if you stay, then it's the same thing. No, shutting down is not leaving the industry. Shutting down is a temporary closure. Temporarily, the cafe in Ahangama is closed. Leaving the industry is where you sell everything off and you go. Then you're completely out. That's the leaving the industry. No, only saying cover the TVC is not enough because they have given numbers here. You have to calculate and show Laman. That's why they're giving you numbers in this question. So you have to calculate and show, okay, if they stay, how much of a profit they make. If they shut down, how much of profit they make. In other words, loss they make. And then say, look here, this is the story. Okay, done. Okay, next one. This is an easy one. We have talked about this. Question 5 is asking, why is MR equals MC the profit maximizing condition for all market structures? Explain why price can be substituted for MR in the MR equals MC rule in perfect competition. So this is a very easy part that you all know, Lavai. So I have put the answer. Let me just explain the story. So if your marginal revenue is more than marginal cost, what does that mean? If loss by continuing and shutting are the same, then same thing. There is nothing better. Okay. So if MR is greater than MC, what should you do? That means each additional unit, you're earning more than what you're spending. That means each additional unit is contributing positively to your profit. You're earning more than what you're spending. So if you want to maximize your profit, what should you do then? If your MR is more than MC, what should you do? You have to, what should you do with your output? You have to increase your output because each additional unit is contributing positively to the profit. What about the other way? What if your marginal cost is more than marginal revenue? Now, each additional unit, you're spending more than what you're earning. You're spending 5,000 to make it, but you're earning only 3,000. Now, what should you do? You have to decrease your, because each additional unit contributes negatively to the profit. You have to decrease your output. So what does that mean? When you come to the situation where MR and MC are equal, your profit is maximized. So I hope you all know that logic. I hope you all know that basic story that is there. So you need to explain that. Yes, I'm not going into detail like a theory class. Why is this happening is not what I'm doing here. You have 3 months to go for the exam. I hope you know your theory. If you don't know your theory, you can get my theory class recordings and cover it up. But don't expect me to go through basics of what is MR, what is MC, why is this happening. No, I'm just recapping the thing, right? Because my understanding is with my students. I have finished the theory class. I have finished the revision class. Unit number 4, I have finished in the fast track class also. So I'm ideally teaching this to a student whom I have taught the unit twice. This is the 4th time that I'm doing it. If it's the first time that you are learning it, then there is a bit of a problem. Right. So then there is another part for this question. They're asking you, how can you substitute price to the MR equals MC rule? So what do you need to talk about there, Laman? Because a firm in perfect competition is a price taker. They have a perfectly elastic demand. So that means each additional unit that they sell, the price and the MR will be the same. You don't have to reduce. So you explain that story and then say, look here, you can MR and price are equal. Therefore, instead of saying MR equals MC, you can even say it as price equals MC. That part you will have to write. That's the part there. Can I write all the equations in the unit? No. That's that. Okay. Then the next one, 2015, question number 4. Same thing. Why is price equal to MR? Lama, remember that story? Remember, if you have my theory class note, remember that table that we do a calculation in. I put the price, I calculate total revenue, and I'd ask you to calculate marginal revenue, average revenue, and all of it. So because you're a price taker, both of it becomes equal. So I'm not going with the calculation, but if you have my theory class too, go back to that. Okay. All right. 2015, question number 4. What is the profit maximization rule? How can it be restated when the firm is a price taker? Same answer as this. What is the profit maximization rule? Profit maximization rule is MR equals MC. Then you have to explain why is it? Because if MR is greater, you have to. No, if MR is greater than MC means you're getting a profit. So you want to maximize your profit. Now, for example, think each of my students, okay, I am charging a class fees of 5,000 for the fast track. That is my marginal revenue. My marginal cost of teaching that student is, let's say, 2,000. Then from that student, I'm getting a 3,000 rupee profit. So if I want to maximize my profit, get the highest possible total profit ever, what should I do? I should increase my number of students. That's why when MR is greater than MC, because each unit is giving you a profit, you increase your output. Then only you will get the more and more profit. If MC is greater, you reduce output. The point where MR and MC are equal, that's where your profits get maximized. Okay. Right. So here, This question, same as the previous one. You can write the same answer as before. You will get your full mark. What's the profit maximization rule? That is MR and MC. Then explain why when MR is greater, what will happen. When MC is greater, what will happen. And then talk about how the rule can be restated. So restated, you can say price equals MC. Instead of saying MR equals MC, when you're in perfect competition, you can say price equals MC because these two are equal to each other. Then the next one, 2015, question number 5. Suppose a price-taking firm in a given short period produces 20 units of output. The market price is 50. At 20 units, average total cost is 60, variable cost is 40. How much of profit or loss does the firm make in the short run? How much is the fixed cost? Easy one, 11. So first one is asking how much of profit or loss. So how do you find the profit or loss? So calculate the total revenue, calculate the total cost, total revenue, total cost, then profit. Profit is total revenue minus total cost. Okay, how much is the total revenue of this firm? They are producing 20 units. Price is equal to 50. So then total revenue is how much? 20 units into 50 rupees per unit. Total revenue is 1,000. How much is their total cost? Average total cost is 60. So if the average total cost is 60, they're producing 20 units. Average total cost is 60. Therefore, total cost is 1,200. So revenue is 1,000. Cost is 1,200. How much of profit are they making? They're making a loss of 200. So you can say profit is a minus 200. Easy one. Then the next one is asking how much is the total fixed cost. So here total cost you have 1,200. From this, a part is your variable, a part is your fixed. So how much is your variable? Average variable cost is 40. So how much is your total variable cost? 40 into 20 units. How much is your total variable? Total variable cost is 800. So from your 1,200, if 800 is variable, how much is your fixed cost? Your fixed cost is 400. So that is your answer for part. Yeah, you can find the average loss and multiply by count. That's fine, but better to give total revenue, total cost, and get it that way. If you say economic loss, do we have to give the minus? If you say loss, it's okay, but I would say play it safe. So say profit and give minus 200, and then say maybe write a line saying the firm is making a loss of 200. Okay, that's easy. Then we go to the next one. 2016 A levels, question number 4. So they are asking us, why will a firm in perfect competition not charge a price either above or below the market price? So that is because they are a price taker. So can you explain the story? Now there is a farmer. For a kilo of paddy, the price is going at 100. Okay. Why will he not charge a price above the market price? Why not above? If he charges above, will anyone buy? Everyone is selling at 100, right? So you can't. So why not above? Because there will be no demand. Because the farmer is a price taker. He's selling the exact same thing as other people. There are a large number of sellers, right? Perfect information. So if he charges a price above, there will be no demand. So you have to explain that story. No one will buy from him. Everyone will buy from someone else. If everyone is giving 100, this guy can't sell at 120. Then why not below? He can do that. Why not below? Why not below now? Above, I agree, right? He can't sell above it because no one will buy. But why not below? The reason why not below is Lamai, because what does the perfectly elastic demand curve mean? Perfectly elastic demand curve means he can sell any quantity at the prevailing price. So whether he brings 100 kilos, 200 kilos, or 300 kilos to the market, he can sell all of his output. There is enough and more demand because large number of buyers are also there. There is enough and more demand at the price of 100. So if he can sell all of his output at the price of 100, මොකද නිකම් බොරුවට අඩු කරන්නේ? That's why he won't reduce. So why not below, right? Since the firm can sell all of its output, at the market price. So why should you reduce the output? If you can sell all of it at the market price, why would you? Because if you reduce them, it just increases your loss. You might end up making a loss. So if there are enough and more people who are willing to buy. Now, let's say now even that's the story that I do with my fast track class also. My fast track class, I want to limit it to 300 people. That's my limit. I'm more than happy with 300 people. I don't want more. Some months I put the print more because some people want to come. But I keep it at 300. If you don't work, I tell you not to join all. So then, if there are enough and more people to come to my fast track class, I'm charging 5,000 a month. If there are enough and more people who are willing to come, pay and come, I don't have a need to reduce my price. If there are 300 people who are willing to come to my fast track class, I don't have to reduce the price to get more people. Same logic here. If the farmer can sell all of his output at the prevailing price, why should he reduce it? Whether the farmer brings 100, the 200, the 300, the 500 kilos, if he can sell everything off at 100 rupees, he doesn't have to reduce it and sell them. So that's the reason that he will not charge a price below. So you have to explain the story. This is the previous one, if anyone wants. Okay. Then we'll go to the next question. Next one is a bit of a calculation. It's an interesting but an easy calculation to do. Okay. 2016 A levels, question number 5. It looks hard, but it's actually a very easy question. The question says, the following diagram shows demand and cost curves of a firm operating in a perfectly competitive market. They are telling you, calculate the profit earned by the firm at the market price of 160. So that means the price is 160. You're talking about price taker, yes. Right? Market price of 160. This is the price. So here, this is this red one here. This is the price. This is the price equals average revenue equals marginal revenue. This is the demand curve. Right? So they're asking you calculate the profit. To calculate the profit, first you have to calculate how much of an output are they producing. So first see where is MR and MC equal to each other? At what level of output? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. At what level of output is MR and MC equal? This is MR equals MC, this purple dot. So draw a line and see what is the output. They're producing 40. So then you can calculate how much is the firm's total revenue. Per unit, they are earning 160 rupees. Selling 40 units, total revenue is how much? How much is total revenue? 6,400. Then how much is their total cost? That's the next thing. So how do you find total cost? Average cost into number of units. So at 40 units, now read the graph. At where does this 40, look at the graph, look at the slide. At 40 units, where does it touch the average cost curve? Right there, that yellow dot. Now connect and see how much is the average cost? That is 100. So average cost means cost per unit. No? Average cost is 100. You all write equations. I'm not writing all of that. Into 40 units, how much is your total cost? Total cost is a 4,000. Your revenue is 6,400, cost is 4,000. How much is your profit? Your profit is a 2,400. This minus this. Easy. That's part A. Then part B is asking, what is the shutdown price of this firm? What is the shutdown price? What is the minimum AVC price? Balan, look at the AVC curve and see where is that bottom of the AVC aligning with. Yeah, because the firm is producing 40 units, so you have to find the total cost at 40. If the firm is producing 40, the total revenue and total cost has to come at 40. Okay. So where is that ABC curve? This is the ABC curve. The bottom is this, right? At 4. So shutdown price is rupees 40. How did I get the total cost again? My total cost is your average cost into yeah. So what is the shutdown price of the firm? You can say you can even say below 40 or below 40. Okay, right. Then yes, my charge is on 100, but my laptop charge I usually keep it on 100. Okay, so then my this what that is my sorry, that is not my laptop charge, that is my iPad charge. Okay, so how do I get the average cost again? My average cost is your total cost is your average cost in number of units. So you need to see, right, the firm is producing 40 units. So at 40 units, I'll erase all this. So firm is producing 40. No? So at 40 units, how much is the average cost? Connect it to this and draw him. Average cost is 40. Average cost is 100. So then how much is the total thing? Total cost will be then 40 into 100. That is 4,000. That's how the number comes. No, I have not done money in bank yet. I'm still in unit number 4. So I have to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That is 2060. Easy question, Lama. The question looks hard, but I would say these calculation kind of things are the easiest. How many of you got all 4 marks there? Yes. Got all 4. Shutdown price now, you can say 40. I would say 40 or below. That would be a better answer to give. 40 should also be okay, but you can say 40 or below. So any price at 40 or below will be a shutdown. Or you can even say shutdown price no. So 40 is fine. The revision class, I think it went for around 9 months. Revision I started in June or July last year, and I wrapped it off by March. Okay, so then 2017. So we'll do 17 and 18, and I'll give you a break. How do I get 40? By reading the graph. So they're saying the price is 160. So if the price is 160, then you need to say where is MR and MC equal? If price is 160, MR and MC are equal in this yellow color dot. So then you draw a line and see how much is your output. That's how the 40 comes. Okay, that's the thing there. Anything you missed, to get a screenshot, I'll go at the end. Okay. Now, right. This one. Distinguish between normal profit and abnormal profit. Easy one. So what is a normal profit? A normal profit situation is where the total revenue is equal to total cost. That's what you call a normal profit situation. No. So if you want, Lama, you can even draw the diagram. So that is a situation where the price will equal to average cost. So you can draw a diagram. This is the price. This is the average cost. This is your marginal cost. So this is a normal profit situation. Then what is an abnormal profit situation? Abnormal profit situation is where my total revenue is more than total cost. Or in other words, your price is more than your average total cost. So if you want to draw a diagram here, this is your price. Your average cost should come less. Price is more. And then you draw M. See, this is a abnormal profit situation. Yeah, MR and MC are always equal. Whether it's whatever situation, MR and MC is equal. That's the profit maximizing level. Okay. So that's the story that you have to talk about. Normal profit, the minimum payment, I will not recommend to write that. They might have given an alternative answer with that. That is that this thing, Supernormal means this. So this is supernormal. So here what you need to say is, Lamai, the revenue is enough to cover all of your cost. But here you're earning a revenue much more. So you can even talk a little bit less. You can also say that in the long run, a firm will always earn normal profits. But in the short run, when there are supernormal profits, you can say more firms will enter. Firms will enter, price will go down, and the supernormal profit will get eliminated. That story, you can talk about that as well. So 2 marks explain this, for 2 marks explain this. Done. Then 2018. So I'll do this and I'll give you a small break. Now, see, Lama, isn't this the same thing that was there before? What is the connection between the supply curve and the marginal cost curve of the firm? Now, here they don't have to go to the industry part also. So in this question, even if you talk about this first part of it, talk about how only this part of it is enough. The industry part is not needed here. So you need to talk about how the marginal cost curve above AVC, how does that become the supply curve? This is the second time then you're seeing the same question being repeated. So you need to say, look here, that you have to minimum cover your AVC, and then the firm will at least want to cover its marginal cost, and then explain that story and say, look here, the supply curve above the minimum AVC, the marginal cost curve above the minimum AVC is that supply curve. So you need to have a fixed kind of an answer for this and know how to draw the diagram. You will get questioned. That's 2018, part 3. Then the next one, distinguish between economic rent and transfer earnings. What is this, Laman? This is in the factor market. So factor market is where factors of production are bought and sold, like labor. So if you take the factor market, the supply of the factor. Over here, you have the demand for the factor. So based on the demand and supply for the factor, you get the equilibrium price. So if it is labor, it's called wages. Then you have the equilibrium quantity. So what is transfer earnings? Transfer earnings is this yellow shaded area. What is that? That is the minimum a factor of production would expect. In order to supply its factors, minimum you want that. Now, if I'm going to work and supply my labor, I will say minimum I want, let's say, to supply to work for 1 week, minimum I want this. 2 weeks, then minimum I want this. So the minimum that you need in order to supply your labor or capital or whatever is what you call transfer earnings. Why did the word transfer come there? Because if you don't even get that minimum, you will transfer your factors into something else. So if I'm going to work, I will say, I minimum want 100 rupees. If I'm not even getting 100 rupees, I will stop working there and I will transfer my labor to something else. That's what you call transfer earnings. Then what is economic rent? Now, even though the minimum you expect is that, actually, Lama, you will get this entire red color box. This entire red color box. Yes, transferring is the opportunity cost of your factor, right? That entire red color box is what you actually earn. So your wage into the quantity of labor, number of hours. So what you earn above your transfer earnings is what we call economic rent. So in this example, this blue shaded area is what you call economic rent. So this is the earnings above your transfer. Whatever you earn more than that minimum expectation, that is what you call your economic rent. You can mainly talk of labor. You can talk a little bit about other factors also. Not a problem. That's the story there, 2018. The diagram is easy, right? It's not a very hard diagram. Below area is transfer. So in order to supply your first factor of production, minimum you want, let's say 100. Supply your second factor, minimum you want 200. So that below part is transfer earnings. What you earn above it is this. Transfer earnings and normal profit is not exactly the same. Transfer earnings for a factor of production, normal profit is the minimum return entrepreneur expects. Normal profit is connected to entrepreneur. Transfer earnings is in general for all factors of production. Okay, I think there are questions in the future. We'll talk about it. Okay, that's that. Shall we do 19 also and take a break? 19 is easy. Quickly give me an answer. 2019 A levels, similar to the 2016 one. How you define transfer earnings? It's the minimum that a factor of production would expect in order to continue supplying its factors of production. It's there in your tute. From the tute, you can take it. Combination of both is called total factor earnings. Okay. Diagram below shows this. Now see, look at this question. Last question, they told us, if you remember the 2016 one, they told us the price is 160. They told us the price is 160. And then we looked at MR and MC and we found the quantity of 40. Quantity we had to find. Now in this question, they are giving us the quantity. They are saying quantity is 100. But how much is the price? Now here what we do, we have to work backwards. Is the price 10, the 20, the 30, the 40, the 50, the 60? So quantity is 100 means that is where MR and MC are equal. So what you will do is, draw a line to your MC curve. Here, this is your MC curve. I draw a line to my MC curve. And then here, this is where my MR curve would have gone from. That is how this became MR equals MC, and that is how 100 units is the quantity. Be careful. In your paper, sometimes they will give the price. Then you find MRMC, you find the quantity. Come down. Sometimes they will give the quantity. Then you work up and you have to find the price, because without the price and quantity, you can't do anything. Okay. So then with that in mind, now you can easily do the question. First one is asking total revenue. Total revenue is the price into number of units. So your price is 60. Number of units is 100. Total revenue is 6,000. So easy, 2 marks. How much is your total cost? Remember, I told you, we will find average cost now. So at 100 units, now read the graph. At 100 units, how much is my average cost? I'll put that in red. Draw a line to your average total cost here. This is where the dot meets. And then I connect it. I get average total cost is 40. So then how do I find my this one? Average cost is 40. Number of units is 100. My total cost is then 4,000. So I'll keep C aside. We'll quickly go to D. How much is the profit or loss then? Revenue is 6,000. Cost is 4,000. My profit is a 2,000. So you show the working. I'm not showing the working. Profit is a 2,000. So, okay. Now we come to C. C is asking for total fixed cost. You can do this in multiple ways. One is you can find the average fixed cost multiplied by number of units. Or you can find the total cost, total variable cost, then you know the balance is the fixed cost. Either way, it's okay. Anything is fine. So shall we do the first method? How much is the average fixed cost, Lamai? Average fixed cost. Now, this one you don't have to always find at the 100 level of output. Any output that they have given, you can find. But here at 100, you can get. So the gap between these two is the average fixed cost, right? I've told you the gap between average total and average variable is your average fixed cost. So how much is that average fixed cost? Here, this is 40, this is 30. Average total cost is 40. Average variable cost is 30. That means your average fixed cost there is 10. Number of units at that level is 100. So how much is your this one? How much is your this? Your average fixed cost is 10. Number of units is 100. Your total fixed cost will then be a how? So, what's the equation to find total cost? Variable plus fixed. Yes, don't memorize it, Lama. If you're completely memorizing equations, you're completely gone with this whole thing, right? The whole logic is gone for a 6. Okay, that's 2019. Right. So I take a small break quickly to get some water. Then we have the latest 4 A-level papers that we need to do. The latest 4 papers, Lama, have a lot of questions. So right now it's 2:40 or 8:41. I'll give you a 4-minute break only because I want to finish it off fast as well. So 3-minute break now. Sorry. A break until 8:45. Get some water, run around to the washroom if you have to, and come back. I'm starting 2020. Take a break. Right. So we'll get into the next part of it. That is this. Okay. 2020 A levels, question number 1. Now, the first one is asking what is meant by economic rent. Now see, the previous question also asked that. Previous question asked what is meant by economic rent and transfer earnings. Now here they're only asking about economic rent, and they're asking you under what conditions can a factor earn an economic rent. So what is economic rent, guys? Economic rent is the income received by the factor owner over and above what you earn above the minimum amount that you need. What is the minimum amount that you need? The minimum amount that you need, that is what you call your transfer earnings, or that is called the opportunity cost of supplying that factor. That is the minimum. See, Lama, do you realize, even though they're asking you to explain economic rent, you're ending up explaining both of it. You're saying economic rent is the minimum. Economic rent is what you earn above your minimum required. So what is that minimum? Minimum is only transfer earnings. So then the question is, under what situations can you earn a economic rent? So you can earn an economic rent, Lamai. There are two situations where you can't. See, now what is economic rent? The amount of economic rent and transfer earnings will depend on what? The elasticity of supply. So if I am to show this, okay, in this diagram, see, Lamai, if you have an elastic supply curve, okay, if you have an elastic supply curve, then economic rent is very small. If you have, let's say, a inelastic supply, this is your supply curve. If you have like an inelastic supply curve, then your economic rent area becomes very big. So when will you not have economic rent? You will not have economic rent, Lama, if your supply is perfectly elastic. So if your supply curve is perfectly elastic, then there is no economic rent. Yeah, what you earn above transfer, what you had explained was the transfer as well. Then. So here, then I'm saying, look at this, it depends on what? It depends on the supply, elasticity of supply. And then I'm saying, when the supply of the factor is perfectly elastic, none of its income is economic rent. If supply becomes perfectly elastic, then there is no economic rent. Economic rent is zero. So for you to have an economic rent, I'm saying, in general, when the supply is neither perfect elastic nor perfect inelastic, some part of the factor income becomes economic rent, and the other part is the opportunity cost or transfer earnings. Thus, any factor can earn an economic rent if its supply has some degree of inelasticity. If it is perfectly elastic, then no economic rent. If it at least is a bit inelastic, let's say elastic, or just think of the shape of the curve. The more and more inelastic it becomes, that economic rent portion tends to increase. So that's a story that you have to talk about. Now, this same story, Lama, in your paper, they can transfer it for transfer earnings. They can ask you what is transfer earnings and ask under which condition can entire thing be transferred. So then again, a last city story, you will have to explain. That's 2020. Then 2020, the next one, same thing. How do you derive the industry's short-run supply curve from the short-run supply curve in a perfectly competitive industry? Illustrate your answer. Now here, that marginal cost part is not needed. So you need to talk about what is the short-run curve. Short-run curve is the MC curve above AVC. You don't have to go to explain that too much. And industry supply curve is what? The sum, the addition of all these individual curves. And then at the shutdown price, industry supply curve is horizontal, and then they're explaining that it's this story. So this is the average variable cost. This is the marginal cost. The marginal cost above AC is the firm supply curve. Let's say this is 100 units. So if you add that whole thing together, right, this is the industry supply curve. So here you might have, let's say, 100,000 units. So this is the sum of all individual supply curves. You can use the word sigma. Sigma means total of all the individual curves. See, it's the same thing, right? Now, this is the third time that they're asking you this question. But they're making small changes to the question. So they will keep on asking again and again. You need to know how to write. The third time. Then 2021. In the short run, firms may stay in the industry even if they are making a loss. Explain this statement. Remember, last time they had with the calculation. The same thing they are now asking it more theory-based. So you need to say this. So a firm is making a loss means your total revenue is less than your total cost. That is what a loss means. Then you have to say, just because a firm is making a loss, you will not shut down. You have to see, can you at least cover your variable cost? Then you will continue. Even though you're making a loss, even though you can't cover your total cost, can you at least cover your variable? If you can, you will continue. If you can't even cover you're making a loss, you can't even cover variable, then only you will go and shut that. So that is what you have to explain now. A firm in the short run may stay even if they are making a loss. So even they are making a loss means this. So if they can cover their variable, they might actually stay. They might continue. If they can't only, they will shut down. So that story you have to explain. It's not a hard one. These are things that were tested before, but before it was tested in a different way. That is the point now. Now I'll tell you unit number 4. Now I'll show you some recent questions, 2022, 23, and 4. Unit number 4, there is nothing else the examiner can ask now. Okay. If you look at now, I have the past papers from 1998. Right? I'll show you my past paper. So from 1997. So I have a very old past paper book that I have past papers from 1997 on. Some old papers I have some PDFs, but from that onwards, I have read all the past papers. So 1997 to right now, the latest we have is 2024. So that is 24 years plus this thing around 28 years. So from that, I've read all the Unit 4 past papers. Unit 4 past papers, everything I have read. But one thing now, we are doing only from 2011. If we had time, you could have done those things. No time. So what you realize is, Unit 4, there is nothing else that they can ask now. All what they can ask from Unit 4 is already asked in your paper. So now what the examiner product tries to do is product try to make a question practical. You already see that in the next papers, right here. For example, this one, it's a bit like they give you like a story and try to, because tava ahanna deval naha lamai, because Unit 4 you can't ask current context, you can't ask about what's happening in the country in Unit number 4. What is the average cost? What is total cost? What is perfect comparison? What is short run? What is long run? Is the same thing that was 50 years ago. So whatever they could have asked them is already in the past papers. So now the only thing that they're trying to do is one question out of the 5. 4 are anyway from the past papers. They have just changed it around. One question they try to make a little practical. They try to connect it from here and there. So you will see that from 2022 onwards. I'll show you. Other questions are same. One question they will try to. No, you don't have to read for 1997. I'm just telling you. Okay. Right. So then come to 2021. This is where the examiner first started to make the question a bit more practical. You see, they're saying a computer, it's a very easy question though. Right? A computer software engineer who was earning 200,000 per month decided to become an entrepreneur and start her own software development firm, which she earns 500,000. What is the entrepreneur's transfer earnings? Transfer earnings means minimum that she would expect. What do you think? 3 marks for this question is actually too much. You don't have to write too much. Then you don't have to explain. Right now, the person is working and earning 200,000. They're stopping that and going to become an entrepreneur. And that they will earn 500. So what is the minimum she will expect at least? Minimum, at least what she was earning, she would have expected. No? So the minimum, the transfer earnings is the minimum. That is a 200,000. Then the next one is asking, does the owner earn an economic rent? Explain. Is the owner getting economic rent? The minimum she would have expected is 200,000, but this one she is earning 500. What is she earning above her minimum? She is earning 300,000 above. So you had to explain that. You had to say, look here, the minimum she is expecting is 200,000. She's actually getting 500. So whatever she receives above her minimum is what we call transfer earning. So she is receiving, sorry, that is called economic rent. So she is receiving 300,000. That is her economic rent. That's it. So all these years, if you looked at the previous questions, they asked you to explain transfer earnings, economic rent, the theory. Now they are going into a bit of practical. So that's what they will do in your paper also. Okay. You will see this in the next questions also. They either make the question a bit practical or they try to find a very small area and make it hard. So I will recommend Lamai for those who are targeting like an island rank. 6 marks. So this is actually 3 marks. Who is targeting for an island rank or a result higher? Keep an eye on question number 4 and also question number 5. Now, question number 4 is what we are doing now, unit 4. And question number 5. That is from unit number 5 and unit number 6. Now, first part, you don't have to draw and explain it. Just mentioning 200,000. So, keep an eye on this. These questions can actually be much easier than the first. Because someone who is targeting for an island rank is targeting to get all 20 out of 20. Okay. So if you are a weak student, 1, 2, 3 is what I will recommend. If you are like a normal weak and not to put you down, I'm saying you, let's say you're an average guy, you want to just get an A, then I would say 1, 2, 3 is easy because that's the unit that you all have studied the most, continue with that. But for the person who is right now targeting a 90, 95 or even higher, they are equally good at all of it. So you go equally good for everything. Keep a little bit of an eye on this. This could be even easier than the first we want to get all 20 marks. So have that in mind. For the sums to explain theory part, not really. That depends on the question though. Okay. Then we'll go to the next one. Look at this. Remember, we discussed this question. I just put it here because it's more relevant here. I think in the first part we discussed, I think first part of the cost part. If you remember, assume a perfectly competitive firm in a paddy market. Firms are producing paddy, but they're currently incurring losses. So they're asking you, compare the price of paddy with the average total cost, average variable, and the marginal. Can you all quickly give me answers? We did this before, a couple of weeks ago. Firm is producing paddy, but even though they are making losses. So even though they are making losses, they are still continuing production. They are making losses, but they are continuing. So what can you tell about the price and the average total cost? Which one is greater? They are making a loss, no? So they are making a loss, kiyanne? Price is more, average total cost is more. They are making a loss. No, price is more, when the price is more, now you are making a profit, no? If the price is more than your average total cost, your average total cost is more. Your price is less than your average total cost. That's why you're making a loss. You're making a loss. So that's what this first one explains. So even though they are making a loss, they are still continuing production. That means, what can you tell about the price and the average variable cost? They're making a loss. Price is less than the average total cost. But they are continuing means they can at least cover their variable. At least it's coverable, exactly. So it's either equal or greater than the average variable cost. Their continuing production means they're at least getting that minimum, or it's at least more than that. Right. So that's the second one that they explain. Then what can you tell about the price and the marginal cost? Yeah, if you're just targeting a 1, 2, 3 is okay. What can you say about price and marginal cost? Remember, a firm in perfect competition, whether they are this one or that one, no matter what they are doing, they will always produce at the profit maximizing level, right? So they will always try to produce at the place where they can maximize their profit or minimize their loss. So they will produce at the point where MR equals MC, price or your marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So that's the first part, right, to compare. Then now second one, they are saying, draw two graphs side by side to reflect the current situation in the market and for the firm. 5 marks for this question, Lamai, I feel is a very easy question. But some people get scared, graph. Now, if you looked at all the previous questions, they never told you to draw a graph. Now, all of a sudden, 5 marks to draw a graph. It's very easy, but you get scared. And the anything you have not done. That is where the mock exam series and all becomes very important now. You do the past papers and go, that questions you can handle. But there will be a few new questions that come. So that is where you don't have to be a part of my mock exam series. Any teacher, any subject, if they are doing mock papers now, I go for that. Because past papers will have what is already tested. But your LL paper is not 100% past papers. There will be new questions also. Those new questions, how to tackle, how to figure out, that is what you all will mainly learn in a mock exam series. Price is equal to MC Lamai. That is whether you're making a loss for the 100th time. Lamai, a firm in perfect competition will always produce at the point where MR equals MC. Right? So you will always produce at that. When you're producing at MR equals MC, you might get a supernormal profit. You might make a normal profit. You might even make a loss. Don't get that confused. You will always produce at this point. You will always produce at the profit maximizing or your loss minimizing point. When you're doing that, there are multiple situations. You go through the proper theory, you get the logic. Some of y'all are. What has happened is some of y'all know parts of the unit level. You know this small part, that small part, but how with everything connects is what you don't kind of know. That is where you get confused. You might have memorized parts and parts, you can't write answers there. So be careful. Okay. So there, to draw the two graphs, I'll show you the two graphs. So here, you help me draw the graph. We'll draw the market. This is the demand curve in the market, supply curve in the market. This is the market demand and supply curve. So you mark the axes as this is price, this is quantity. Then you have the price. This is the price. Price slash cost. This is the quantity. This is your marginal cost curve. Okay. I'm showing you how to draw this for 5 marks. That is it. Now, you tell me, where should the average cost come? Based on what you have written here. If the firm is making a loss, the average cost should be higher or below. Where should the average cost come? If you're making a loss, average cost should be higher, Lamai. That's why now you're making a loss. That's what no. Now see, the first question is a hint for you to draw the second one. They're helping you to draw from the first one. You will still figure out no, here average cost is higher than price here. So then draw the average cost above the price. That's why you're making a loss. But even though you're making a loss, you are still continuing. So where should your average variable be? Even though you're making a loss, you're continuing means your price is at least covering your variable. Variable has to be below or at least be equal. So you can draw your average variable cost like this below the price, or you can draw it equal to the price. This is also okay. Any of the green ones is correct. I would say even go below is fine. Equal is also okay. Below is also okay. So this is your average cost, right? This is your average cost. This is your price. This is your average variable cost. This is your MR equals MC, profit maximizing level. This is your diagram for 5 marks. You don't have to draw this on a graph paper or anything. Make it a graph paper. This is not a scale or anything. You just have to draw this diagram. Mark everything. This is the equilibrium price. This is the quantity, market price. Mark everything. You get 5 marks for this diagram. I would say this is the easiest 5 marks to get. But for this, you need to know the story. Otherwise, you can't do. That overall, that 8 marks for that question is easy. It's very direct, very straightforward. So it's up to you to get the full mark. Okay. Then we'll move to the next one, 2023. Right. So easy one. Here they're asking, explain why a firm is a price taker. So explain why the firm is a price taker and it cannot choose a price at which it sells its products at a perfect competitive market. So in a perfect competitive market, right? Why can't you choose a price? Why can't you choose your price? You have to explain why is a firm in perfect competition a price taker? That is what you have to explain. So why is a firm a price taker? So here, price taker means you can't control. You have to take whatever price that is in the market. Why are you a price taker? For mainly these three reasons. So they have in the marking scheme, they have given the uh, ease of entry, no barriers to enter and exit also as a sub reason. But even the main three reasons I will feel is more than enough. So explain what is a price taker. Why are you a price taker? So then you don't have market power. No? As one farmer, you can't set your own price. So you have to end up selling at whatever price others are selling. So it's simply to explain the price taking thing. But instead of giving the question directly, instead of saying, explain what is meant by price taker, they put the beat around the bush and give you the question because there is nothing else to ask. Unit 4 they can either make the question practical and try to put something like this. Here, this paddy farmer story, something like that. Or they can try to hear this economic trend story. They can try to do something practical like that. But apart from that, there is nothing else that they can ask. Whatever they can ask is already asked. So if you do the past papers, the practical stuff and all in the mock series and all people will cover, teachers will cover, then everything that you're going to write in your paper is there. You can handle. Okay, that's 2023. There's another one. Look at this. Okay. Same calculation, right? Same calculation. Instead of just giving you the calculation like numbers in a table, they give you this in this one. We'll see. Assume that the market for carrot is perfectly competitive. Market price is 200. Sarat, the carrot farmer, is selling 50 kilos of carrot. His marginal cost is 150. Okay. Calculate Sarat's total revenue and marginal revenue per week. How much is Sarat's total revenue? Total revenue is his price into quantity. How much is his total revenue? How much is that? Total revenue, he sells 200 rupees a kilo. How many kilos is the fellow selling? He's selling 50 kilos. His total revenue is 10,000. Right. How much is his marginal revenue level? Marginal revenue is the additional revenue of selling one extra unit. Remember, my marginal revenue in perfect competition is equal to price, no? MR is equal to price. So you can say his marginal revenue is equal to his price. So how much is that? That is equal to 200 rupees. So you can give that as your. Okay, that's part A, 2 marks done. Part B is saying, is Sarat maximizing profit? So here, what should you look at, Lama? Is he maximizing profit or not, Balan? What do you look at? Do you look at total revenue, total cost, or MR and MC? Is he maximizing his profit? So you have to look at the profit maximizing condition. So MR and MC. So see, Lama. MR, MC. How much is his MR marginal? Is the price 200. How much is his marginal cost? His marginal cost is 150. So marginal revenue is more. So he is not maximizing his profit. What should he do to maximize his profit though? Can you tell me? His MR is more than MC. So in order to maximize his profits, what should he do? He has to increase output. He has to increase output if he wants to maximize his profit. Increase output or increase production. See, easy one. Another 2 marks. Solved. Then part C. They say the price of carrot falls to 100. Ooh. And Sarat reduces his output to 30 kilos a week. His average variable is 80. Marginal cost falls to 100. His average fix is 40. Is he maximizing profit? So see, there are multiple questions. Is he maximizing profit? Is he making an economic profit or loss? Explain your answer. Okay, first. To figure out, is he maximizing profit? Now compare the new MR and MC. How much is the new MR and MC? Price has fallen to 100. Now, MC is, how much is his marginal cost? They're saying marginal cost is also 100. So is he maximizing his profit? MC is 100. He is, right? So he's either, if he's making a profit now, he's maximizing the profit. If it is a loss now, he's minimizing the loss. Whatever said now, he's in the best possible situation. Either he's getting the highest possible profit. If it's a loss now, he's minimizing the loss. So you can say, yes, he's maximizing his profit, or you can say minimizing his loss. We'll see. Our next one we are seeing is loss. So is he making an economic profit or loss? So how can you look at that? Look at the total revenue and total cost. How much is the total revenue? 100 rupees a kilo, he is selling 30 kilos. So 100 rupees a kilo, 30 kilos, the total revenue is 3,000. Total cost. What is his total cost, Lamai? Average variable is 80, average fixed cost is 40. Then average total cost is 120. 120 into 30 units. How much is his total cost? Total cost is 3,600. So then is he making a profit? Economic profit or loss? He's making a loss. Loss of how much? Loss of 600. So here then the first part of it, Lama, you can say not maximizing profit. You can say he is minimizing his loss. So he is making a loss, no? So he's minimizing his loss. It would be, you can say maximizing profit, which in brackets say he's minimizing his loss. So this part, when they say explain your answer, Lama, you have to explain your calculation. There are two parts for this question. The first one is is he maximizing profit? They are explain. This is his MR, this is MC, right? Right now, MR is equal to MC. Therefore, he's maximizing profit, or in other words, he's minimizing his losses. That's the first part, 2 marks done. Then second part of the question is asking whether he's making economic profit or not. So then you can see, this is your total revenue, this is the price, this is the quantity, so total revenue is this much. This is the cost, this is the average cost, this is the quantity, this, therefore total cost is this much. Then calculate the profit and show. So you, whatever, instead of just writing numbers, you have to put that into a paragraph. That's what you have to do. So that's the 4 mark there. Isn't that easy, Lama? Isn't this 8 marks one of the easiest 8 marks ever? You just have to, in your 20 mark question, getting an 8 mark like this, I would feel is very easy. You just have to do the calculations. But just to do the calculation, they are product making it practical living. That's what they are. Okay, done. That's 24, 2023. So then we come to 2024. Now, 2024, there are so many questions from this focus area. There are 3 questions. Look at this. First one is, so that is the profit maximizing point or the loss minimizing point, the MR equals MC. So that is the point where if you're making a profit now, you're getting the highest profit. If you're making a loss now, you're making the lowest possible loss. So just because you're at MR equals MC, there is no guarantee that you will always make a profit. Whether you make a profit or not is your total revenue and total cost. But being at MR equals MC means you're at least at your best possible situation. Loss ekak now, PN aduma loss ekak. Profit now, you're at the highest possible profit. Right. So 2024 question number 2. How does a firm determine its profit maximizing level of output in the short run? So here you can explain, Lamai, the MR equals MC story. So when MR is greater, that story, when MC is greater, then MR equals MC is the profit maximizing. But also, do you all remember, in my tute, I teach you 2 ways of finding this profit maximizing output. The widely used one is the MR equals MC. Tamai. Do you remember there's another way? How many of you remember that? The other approach. That also you can write if you want. The total revenue and that's not equal. It's called total revenue and total cost approach. So you can explain that also if you want, but one of it is enough. So you can go with MR equals MC. That's what you all always have been writing about. No? So explain that. That's the other one. You don't have to go that much into detail. Okay. Then the next one. Next second. Kavit, you can explain. You can either explain the MR equals MC approach, or you can explain the total revenue total cost. One approach you can explain now. One of the 2. Anything interesting, but I would recommend you go with this because this is what you have always been writing in the previous questions and all. You have been writing this. Okay. Right. 2024. Question 4. Yes, I will not be taking any questions after this is done. Right now also I got scolded by my wife. I have a dinner to go. I'm already late. So I will finish these two questions. Any questions, you can drop me a text on WhatsApp. I'll take it on WhatsApp. Okay. Right. So explain how a shift in the firm's cost structure, right? How a shift in the firm's cost structure, such as an increase in the cost of raw materials, would affect the firm's short-run supply curve and the overall industry supply curve. Use appropriate diagrams to support your explanation. Now, this question I would feel is the best question out of all the questions that we would have seen. This question, they connected. Now, I told you there's nothing that they can ask them in now. So what they did is they connected this with Lama unit number 2. What did they do? They connected this unit 4 supply. They connected to unit number 2. So you tell me what happens if the cost of raw materials increase? What happens to your supply? Unit number 2. We don't talk about the cost of raw material much here. Your supply will reduce. That is a leftward shift or a rightward shift of your supply curve. It's a leftward shift of your supply curve. Now, what is your supply curve? Your supply curve is the marginal cost curve above AVs. Then the marginal cost curve is only shifting left. So look at the story here. Balan. So also you have to think, Lamai, when your raw materials prices increase, one, your supply curve is this, no? That is shifting to the left. That is one. But also, if your raw material price is increasing, what happens to your variable cost? Raw material price increasing and variable cost. Variable cost is also rising, no? And can you see the diagram now? This is the firms, how the firms things change. So I'll show you the original ones. Now this is the, in yellow, this is the original marginal cost curve. This is the original average variable cost curve, the yellow one that I've highlighted. The question is saying, look here, now what is happening? The raw material prices are increasing. So they're asking you, how will that affect the firm's supply curve and also the industry? We'll keep the industry for a side. So if the raw material prices increase, you have to now explain. Raw material prices increasing is on one side, your variable cost is rising, right? Your variable cost is rising. Also, cost is rising here, now my supply will decrease. So supply curve is the marginal cost curve. Anna, see, supply curve, we are shifting to the left. Anna, new supply curve, marginal cost. Then raw material price increase, Anna, your variable cost is rising. See, the red one is your new one. See, they're properly labeling it. The yellow one says AVC1, MC1. The red one says MC2 and AVC2. And then along with that, if the cost of production for the firms are increasing overall, what will happen in the industry? In the industry also, cost will rise. This is your original demand and supply curve. Cost of production is rising. Supply will shift. So you will come into that level. So that's the thing. See, there is nothing else that they can ask. That's why now they are trying their level best. Examiner is somehow trying his level best to make the question difficult. The MC curve below ABC, that will also, it will, that's how they have drawn that, is they have not shifted that a lot, right? Only the above part, they have product shifted. So if you can see, the place where both of these curves starts, they haven't changed, right? Because the MC curve above ABC is on a supply. That anith part is now and how they have nicely drawn the diagram. In your paper, even if you don't go that much, they won't become an issue. See, they can. So yes, they can connect this with a tax. They can connect this with a subsidy. They can. Right? So that's what you have to know. So the individuals, now if this is the individual supply curve, if all the individual supply curves are shifting, that means the market supply curve will also shift. So market means industry. That is the collection of, that I would say is a very good question. Put a star and keep learning. So whatever I explained is what is there in this paragraph, you can read. So if you logically understood the unit lemma, you can. Now, even I'll tell you, even this lemma, even if you don't get the full mark, you can still get no. The other questions are pretty direct. So even from this 8, you get, let's say, only 3. You're only losing 2 marks. 20 marks, in 2 marks you lose. So don't worry too much. Sometimes you might be the smartest fellow in class. You might have a thing that you might not know. That's okay. Mistakes happen. People don't know everything, because if you know everything, you think, one, you don't have to come to class. Yeah. Okay. So then that is done. Then we come to the last one. Easy one. Question number 5. Okay. Firms is single firm. A perfectly competitive firm sells its output at the price of 120. Firm's average fixed cost is 20, variable cost is 80. When 60 units are produced, why specifically a VC curve? Because cost of raw materials are variable cost. Yeah. Okay. Calculate the firm's total revenue, total cost, economic profit or loss. 4 marks. Put the pen, you can do now. How much is the total revenue, Lama? Quickly. 120 rupees per unit. How many units are they selling? 60 units. How much is the total revenue? Quickly. Give an answer. The more late you get, the more I get scolded from my wife. How much is total cost? Total cost. Variable is 20. Sorry, fixed is 20. Variable is 80. Total cost is 100. Into number of units 60. Total cost is a 6,000. Therefore, you're making a profit of how much? You're making a profit of 1,200. So you do that, Lama, you get 4 marks. Do you see how easy that question is? Same thing. They give it in a paragraph, they give it in a diagram, they in different ways, but same thing is what they actually. Okay. And then the next one is saying, calculate producer surplus. Do you all remember I taught you all an equation for producer surplus? How do you find producer surplus? From your total revenue, if you minus your total variable cost, remember this equation, you can get producer surplus. So my total revenue is 7,200. My variable cost is how much? My variable cost is total average variable cost is 80. Number of units is 60. My total variable cost is 4,800. එතකොට කීයද my producer surplus? For producer surplus, we don't deduct fixed cost. How much is the producer surplus? 2,400. So that is 6 marks there, lamai. That's an easy question, I would say. Calculation like that is almost 3 marks. That is your last question that you say. Overall, how do you all feel? Can manage? So unit 4 is done. Unit 5, the tudes and all, I will send it on the group. You can get a printout. So next class, we will move into unit number 5. And so the focus areas, I'll categorize everything and I'll put it. This is a previous question to get a screenshot. So any questions, Lama, I'll take it on WhatsApp later. I need to run for dinner now. I already got scolded. I will see you all very, very soon. Fast track people next Monday. The others, I'll see you also. Questions, send on WhatsApp. I'll get back. See you. Bye-bye.